Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Chassidus in the morning, 15 minutes. Mayim Rabim. So yesterday we were discussing about what is the Mayim Rabim, and today we're going to discuss really what the Chiddush is. Because if you think about it, and you look into your own life, when you stress is devoid of God, but we do stress. And when we stress, we're not connected, so to speak. And it's like because what we're saying is when we stress, when we have these concerns, they distract us from davening and learning. They distract us from connecting to God. But what we're saying from the Mayim is that the Mayim Rabim can't lo yachlu chavos ava. They can't extinguish this love they have for God. Which is confusing because we do feel that it separates us, that when we stress out about these things, so we're less connected. So how are we saying that it doesn't take away that love when we see from experience that it does? For a simple example, if you're stressed about something and you're davening, what are you thinking out when you're davening? You're not thinking about connecting to God. You're not thinking about the words. You're thinking about this issue that's bothering you, that's stressing you out. So then how are we saying in the Mayim that it can't extinguish love? It does. I'm not thinking about God. I think about God less when I'm stressed. And when I'm not stressed, I can think about God better. So what's going on over here? Well, it's sort of confusing. So let's see. We're up to Ois Gimel. So Hine. And one of the perfect ways of like seeing this is some people, they have a hard time sleeping. They have sleeping issues. Or people have another example. They have back issues. A lot of times, there's Dr. Sono. He's like a back specialist. Passed away maybe 5-10 years ago or something, not so long ago. And he basically realized that a lot of the back issues that people are having are not a physical issue from their back, even though it was expressing it physically. But the source of it was stress, and they're holding stress in their back. And there's tons of people, that I know that had this issue, and I see it in myself also. And these are stressful things. And when that happens, it shows that it's pretty stressed, and so that in that place you're not thinking about God, and God is not. It's just like get rid of this pain. Or you unfortunately suffer with it. And people, I heard Rabbi, I forgot his name now, the Rabbi Majeski, that someone told him to go to Dr. Sono, and his back was so bad, they say it was like you could watching him walk was like painful. And his condition for going to see him was on condition that they'd bring him his special chair. He had one chair that he could sit on, that sort of make him half comfortable. And through speaking to Dr. Sono, getting rid of that stress, he's better. Now you would see him. You don't even know you wouldn't even recognize that ever happened. But these stresses are real things. And so clearly when this happens, it does feel that we're separating, that we're disconnected from God. And it is distracting us from God. We could daven and learn a lot better, and we could do Torah mitzvahs better if we didn't have stress, seemingly. So then how are we saying that it doesn't finish the love? So let's see. This novelty that many waters can extinguish the love. So what's this chiddush over here? So he explains what is in its source. The source of these many waters, which is the parnasa. This is coming from the level of toyu that's before tikkun. So in the source, the Mayim Rabim are from Toyu, which is the world of chaos, which comes about before the world of Tikkun. The very high worlds, very high levels of and connected to godliness. A Toyu is a world, we learned this in the other Mayim, a Toyu is a world with a lot of light and not a lot of vessels, a lot of opinions, and every opinion was very strong and very forceful, and they couldn't get along together. But it's a very, very powerful level of godliness. Whereas Tikkun, which is the world that had full of kalim, vessels to be able to receive the godly energy, but it didn't have a lot of godly light. The energy, the light didn't come, wasn't as much. That's a lower level. And so he's saying the Mayim Rabim, which is so powerful, is coming from this higher level of tohu, of which is chaotic, which is full of light, but not a lot of vessels. The Zeo Shenikra Mayim Rabim. And this is why they're called Mayim Rabim, many waters. Why? Because some Rabim. What does it mean, Rabim? Because in their source, then there are many. But it's a very high level godness. It's a lot. It's powerful. And this is this novelty. And this is really the novelty of the fact that the many waters kind of sting shalav, and there is one better washed away. Because the agam shemayim rabim can only take good shares nefesh lekis, being that the mayim rabim coming from a higher level than the nefesh lekis, and so it's coming from a higher level nefesh lekis, but because makam lo yuchlu l'chabos chadasham misav nefesh lekis. Even though it's coming from a higher self nefesh lekis, it kind of extinguishes the love that nefesh lekis has for godliness, which is a very big, novel idea. We're saying it's coming from a higher place, it's a higher source, and it can't extinguish it. But meaning, even though the nefesh lekis is from a lower place, it can't extinguish it. That's, it's like someone is stronger than another person, but still can't win over them in an arm wrestle. You're stronger than a person, but you can't win. Why? It doesn't. That's the Chassidus. You're saying Mayim Rabim should. The distractions in our lives should take us away from being connected to God, and it should take away that feeling of love that we have for God, and it should be hard to daven, and it should be impossible. It's coming from a higher place, and logically, it should destroy the love they have for God and distract us and take us away and not have that ability to learn and all the issues that come with it. And all the stresses. Those stresses should be powerful, but the axiom of the Mayim is that it isn't. So how? Let's see. So the reason why it isn't is because, like it says, like it says in the passage before this in Shir Shirim of the Mayim Rabim, the passage before the Mayim Rabim in Shir Shirim, it says V'shapei shall have Yud Kei. It's calls of the flame of God, and he'll explain. Because the source of the neshama, the ha'ava, and the hidden love that's within it, because essentially the source of the nefesh lekis, that like its true source, is in atzas ein seif, which is even higher than tayum. So the meaning there's different sources. Different levels within us, there's the way we function normally, and then there's when something happens, we function on a deeper level, and then something intense happens, and then we function on a huge and deeper level. It's like a simple example. It's like when something stressful happens, something intense happens, like a kid is under a car, and someone lifts up the car to take the kid out, things like that happen. That's not a normal way of functioning, but we have that in our source, we have this ability. And that's what he's saying, that in our source, really the source of the neshama. So there's the simplistic level of source, which is in neshama as it is in tikkun, which is in a lower level than the Mayim Rabim. But then there's a deeper level of the neshama as it is sourced in atzmus. We're going to have a question on this. It's a beautiful man, but it's sourced in God's essence, which is higher than toyum, and that's why I can't extinguish love. Because the source of the love of the nefesh lekis is coming from the level of the flame of Hashem, as it is connected to and hidden within the kol. The kol, he's sort of saying that the kol has fire within it. How do we see it? When we light it up, it lights. So it has potential fire within it. It's just hidden there. And when you light it, when you put a match to the kol, then it lights up. And that sort of nefesh lekis, it could be like a kol dormant, but you just need to light it up and it comes lit. But there's an even deeper level of the love of nefesh lekis, a better example, which is as it is a flint. A flint is a rock that you take and you smack it, you hit it with another the flint, and sparks come out. What's the advantage of a flint over a coal? Is that the flint is like Shalamayim Avayis, a level higher than Avayis, even higher than the creation of the world, higher than Tikkun, higher than Toyu. This is the level of Atzis. That's the true source of the neshama. When we look at the text, when the Torah, the Peirush HaKasav, like it says in the pasuk, Varuch Tashva Elokim Mishnasana, and the spirit of the neshama will return to Hashem who made it. B'chinas Elokim Mishnasana, to the level of, where does it go back? To the level of Elokim Hashem which gave it, which is B'chinas Tzur, and now which is this Tzur. So to explain it in simple, you have a coal and a flint. The biggest difference in a coal and a flint is a flint stone. Take that stone, you put it in water, you soak it in water for 24 hours, for a day, for a year, take it off, you dry it up, you hit it again, and it starts to, and sparks can come out, and it can help light fire. A coal, generally you just light it, and it can light up. But if you soak it in water, then it's done. It's done. It's soaked in water, and it can't, I don't know if you could let it out in the sun and dry up and then light again. I'm not sure if that would work. But it gets very affected, and these are sort of two levels of the neshama. There's a level of the neshama that it's like a kol, which is the lower level, which is toyu, and on that tikkun, and on that level, the Mayim Rabim, these concerns and these stresses of our lives take control of our life. But there's a deeper level within us that we're like a kol, like a flint, and nothing can get in the way. And you can stick us in water, you can get all these financial concerns, you can bother us, you can stress us out, all these things that can come, but I can just dry myself off and I can light up. And we all have that within us. And that's what he's saying here. Daled. So the time is Daled, we'll start it off. And behold, so now what we're saying in Daled, we're going to say it's not just that it doesn't extinguish the love, but that's what we're saying now. We're saying, you know what? The Mayim Rabim can't extinguish the love. Now we're going to flip it on and say, not just can't extinguish the love, it's there to add to the love to God. Which is like what? Till now we're talking about, and when we think about it, these concerns and stresses in our lives, we're like, I wish I didn't have these stresses and I could just daven and learn, I could connect to God more, it'd be easier. I don't have to stress about all these things. But we're going to be saying, and I think we'll stop here, what we're going to be saying tomorrow is that not just it doesn't stop you from connecting to God and having that love for God, but it can help you. And we're going to discuss how it's going to help you later, but that's what he's saying, that's what we're going to be saying tomorrow, how it helps. That really, it's a whole purpose, and this is what we're going to see tomorrow, the whole purpose of these Mayim Rabim, whole purpose of these situations that stress you out is not to stress you out, but it's to connect you to God and say, hey, and really what we should do is use it as a catalyst to daven better and to learn more. It's like, unfortunately, people that go and if you pay attention to this, people that go through a lot of stressful experiences, a lot of time they connect to God. People that go into prison, unfortunately, they grew up, not so religious, not religious at all. Suddenly they want to find out their religion. They're like, go back to their roots. Oh, people unfortunately get sick. What do? They start davening. I had a friend that he wasn't so religious, and unfortunately got Yana and suddenly became very religious. And I'm not Chas v'Shalom, I'm not saying that's why Hashem did it. We don't know why Hashem does what He does, but what we're seeing is that these stresses, the way we should take it is a catalyst to push ourselves more forward towards connecting to God, and that's the whole purpose of it. And once you do that, it should all go much better. To be continued tomorrow.